Immortal Unchained is science fiction Dark Souls with guns, and you should know the drill by now. You fight, you explore, you find the bonfires, you upgrade your character and your weapons, you find the NPCs speaking gibberish in the map, and for some reason they eventually end up in your hub. In Immortal, all of the different planets have been overrun by Necrons, and so of course they let a space gorilla, that is you, out of space prison to fight all of these Necrons. I'm not sure what is really happening in the story, because I am not smart enough to figure it out, but there is something happening, and if you are interested you should probably look elsewhere. I did mention that you are fighting Necrons, right? Because that is one of the big drawbacks of this game. This game may have a decent number of environments, but no matter if you are fighting in the space jungle, space forest, space ruin, space city or space lava lake, you are still fighting Necrons. And don't get me wrong, there is a decent number of different Necrons in the game, but it still gets a little bit stale. You have a decent selection of guns to fight them with, but none of them are all that special, and the lack of different armors in the game is also a bit sad. There is no fashion souls in this game. Still, gameplay is king, and at its best, the gameplay of this game can be really fun. I played the game with mouse and keyboard, and I thought it controlled quite well, and overall, the gameplay felt very competent. Sometimes when I came home from work, feeling a little bit tired, I launched this game and just grinded and played around a bit, and I had fun doing that, and that's a very good sign in my opinion. Still, there is a but, and that is that the game is not always at its best, and there is a lot of frustrating and annoying things in this game. I should mention that I play and I enjoy the Soul games, but I'm no super fan, and what I like about them is not the difficulty in itself, and all of the different nonsense in those games. What I like is the sense of adventure. You explore these cool areas, you fight cool monsters and bosses, and sure, the possibility to lose experience adds tension of course, as well as the difficulty, but it's not the point of it, as to say. Sadly, Immortals, like many Souls games, have added stuff that, in my humble opinion, is just frustrating. So you have a lot of clusterfuck areas. And what I'm talking about is areas where it just happens too many things at once. So you have traps, you have melee fighters, you have teleporting snipers, you have enemies standing at balconies with assault rifles or grenade launchers, and it just becomes a giant clusterfuck. And the game have a lot of command moments, and a lot of it is really frustrating, and I came very close to dropping the game at multiple occasions. It also doesn't help that the game can be a bit unpolished at times. You have strange difficulty spikes. You can get stuck in the environment or at invisible walls when trying to dodge away from enemies. Sometimes you run out of your ammunition long before the next bonfire. The frame rate can be a bit shit, and the UI sometimes gets stuck. And basically, all of this nonsense adds up together with the frustrating clusterfuck areas, and sometimes it can be a bit annoying. The last big thing about this game are the bosses. So how are they? Well, they are a mixed bag of course. You have some good ones and some bad ones, but in general you have a lot of big Necron bosses that aren't all that interesting. You have some bosses that are a little bit of a clusterfuck, too much happening. You fight with a boss in melee and you have enemies standing on balconies shooting at you. Or you have another boss where there is just too much damn things happening at once and it's not possible to really get a good feeling of everything that is going on. But none of the bosses are really all that great, and none of them can match the better ones in their competitor games, like Dark Souls for instance. To summarize, Immortals is a decent enough Soul game, but its peaks never reaches the peaks of the games that it's clearly influenced by, and it has a lot of really frustrating moments. And the enemies can be a bit uninteresting, and I guess you could say the same thing about the bosses. And the game is also lacking in polish. and at the end of the game in particular, I was quite tired of the game and I just wanted it to be over. With all of that being said, I don't think this is a bad game, and I certainly would recommend it to people who like Soul games, but it's certainly not for everyone.